Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Gabe with Indigo Software, genuine Microsoft software for less. In this video, we're going to show you guys how to install and configure DHCP Server in Windows Server 2025. Before we get started with this video, if you're interested in purchasing Windows Server, remote desktop licenses, Windows 10, Windows 11, Microsoft Office, or a wide variety of other Microsoft software at a great price, be sure to check out Indigo Software. We'll have those links down below. So without further ado, let's jump in. All right, guys, so we're here on Windows Server 2025. This is my domain controller. DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Basically, it automatically hands out IP addresses and network information to devices on our network so that we don't have to configure each one manually. So we're going to install the server role on this server here. We're going to configure a scope, and then we're going to set some options like DNS and gateway. To go ahead and get started on our server, let's just go ahead and open our Server Manager if you're not there already. Again, we can always find this in our start menu here. So with this pulled up, we're going to go to Manage at the very top right, and we'll click Add Roles and Features. So you guys are probably familiar with the Roles and Features installation wizard, but it does give us some options as we click through. We're going to first select our installation type. For this instance, we want a role-based or feature-based installation. Then next, we'll select our server from the server pool, or we can select a virtual hard disk. We're going to go with a server. We're going to go with the server. Looks like we actually have a pending restart. Okay, so let me go ahead and restart that first. If you see a message like this, we would recommend restarting the server. Let me do that really quick. We'll be right back. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and proceed to where we were. Select the server from the server pool. Okay, so once we get here, we want to add DHCP Server. We're going to click Add Features and include management tools if applicable. And at this point, we can actually move through the rest of the wizard. We can also do this with a single PowerShell command. And just to show you guys that, we would type install Windows feature DHCP, and then we can specify to include management tools. So this is an alternative method of installing the DHCP server roles. I'll just exit out of this and go with the wizard. We can click next on the features. And then here we have basically some things to note. And we want to have at least one static IP on this computer. We should also plan subnets, scopes, and exclusions. And we finally have a confirmation page. So let's go ahead and install. All right, we can see that the installation succeeded. And note that we also have configuration required, which is what we want. I'm going to close this down for now. And we see this little flag up here has a yellow message on it. And if we click this, we'll be prompted to complete DHCP configuration. So this is the post-install configuration wizard. All right, and then I'll start by hitting next. Also just noting what it says here. We'll hit next. This is an authorization section here, and so I'll just leave this as the following user's credentials, which is the administrator account for this server. We could also use alternate credentials or skip authorization. I'm gonna go ahead and commit my administrator for this, and we have the summary, and we'll hit close. And now at this point, we want to open our DHCP management console. So we can see that listed right here. I'm just gonna click into that, and we can also access it on this left-hand navigation pane at any time. So we can see our server is domain controller 1, and we've got the IP address listed here. And so what we want to do is we're going to expand our server. So we'll right click into this, and let's open our DHCP manager. All right, now we can click to expand our server. Now I can right click IPv4, and I'm going to go ahead and select new scope. This brings up another wizard, the new scope wizard. I'll click next, and let's go ahead and enter a name for this. I'll go ahead and title this Office LAN. And I could enter a brief description if I would like to. Let's move on. Notice that we have a start IP address. We also have an end IP address. We also have a subnet mask, and we have exclusions, okay? Now for demonstration here, notice that because of the Hyper-V default switch, I've got this on a completely different network than my actual LAN, which is 172.29.207.174. And so for the example for this tutorial, I'm gonna use this network to configure my DHCP server, which is going to allow my other virtual machines, which are also hosted on this computer, to access this through the default switch. The best practice would be to create an external switch that maps to our PC's host. If you're an actual server administrator and you're not dealing with virtual machines, then this is an irrelevant topic. But we just wanted to bring that up so there isn't any confusion. Again, the purpose of this video is to show you the DHCP server configuration. So let's go ahead and proceed. I'm going to set my start IP address as 172.29.207. My static IP was 174. And so I'll start this one at 50 and I'll maybe end it at 100. For the subnet mask, I'm going to enter the same as my server. All right, and I'll hit next. So here we actually have exclusions and delay. So if I wanted to add exclusions for servers or printers, for example, I could enter the same IP. We had 50 through 100. And so maybe I have 70 through 75 on my exclusion list. This is how I would do that here. All right, so I could click add here. If we wanted to exclude a single address, we would just add one there. And the range is again shown here, so we'll click next. The lease duration I'll leave as the default, which says 8 days. And I want to say yes, I want to configure this option now. Here we can specify the default gateway to be distributed by this scope. I'm adding my server's default gateway. I'll click add. I'll click next. We can leave our parent domain, or we can enter or specify our parent domain if we'd like to here. For Wins servers, we could add this for this part of the wizard. I'm going to go ahead and skip that. And then finally, I want to activate the scope. And I'll click finish. Okay, so we've got our IPv4 settings inside. We have the scope that we just created. If I click into that, note that we have a little section called reservations. All right, and then I'm going to click new reservation here. So that was a little drop-down arrow right here, more actions and new reservation. Let's say that I have a printer, for example. I'll title this printer 1, and it's got an IP address of 7 ending in 78. So I could then enter the MAC address, which would be the printer's MAC, and a reservation would guarantee that this specific device always gets the same IP based on its MAC address. So this would be useful for printers or voice over IP phones or servers that need consistent addresses still managed by DHCP. So just knowing that we would enter our MAC address here and we'd click add, and we would have our reservation. So the next thing we want to do is we want to test the DHCP on a client PC. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Let me go ahead and start up my Windows 11 client PC. All right, and then I'm going to type in my user password. All right, guys, so I actually ended up launching my Windows Server 2025 core. I just joined this as a client to the domain controller, which is the other server that we just had up. Now, I do actually have my static IP configured here. So I'm going to select my network index, and instead of the static IP, I want this to be DHCP. All right, so I just enabled DHCP, and let me go ahead and get back to sconfig here, and I'll exit to the command line. So first, I'm simply just going to type ipconfig/release. I'll do ipconfig/renew, ipconfig/all. And so confirming here that we've received an IP address, which we have here, that is within the defined scope that we set up on our DHCP server, which it is. This is our first IP address of 50. And so we just verified that the server is working. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for today's video. If you have any questions about anything we covered, feel free to drop those in the comments below, and we'll get back with you as soon as we can. Again, if you're interested in purchasing genuine Microsoft software at a great price, be sure to check out Indigo software. We'll have all those links in the description as well. As our channel continues to grow, we're constantly looking for new video topic ideas. If you have any ideas of your own, we'd love to know what those are. Most viewer commented video requests get made into actual videos on our channel. Lastly, a like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated as it helps to support our channel. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys next time.